All right, this is a continuation of solving trig identities by verification. So we have the secant of y plus the tangent of y equals the cosine of y over 1 minus the sine of y. Think of the 1 minus the sine of y, and you're trying to create a Pythagorean identity out of it. So you think about a complex conjugate. The opposite of 1 minus the sine of y would then be 1 plus the sine of y. All right, so we're going to start with the right-hand side of the equation. We're going to leave the numerator alone. And in the denominator, we're going to take the conjugate of it. So the conjugate, we said, was 1 plus the sine of y. 1 plus the sine of y. Now we multiply across. When we multiply across, I'm going to leave that cosine of y outside, and then I have 1 plus the sine of y. Now we're going to go ahead and FOIL the denominator. So we have first, outside and inside will cancel out because they are conjugates of each other. So we can use cheater FOIL. So we only have to worry about first, 1 times 1, and then last, negative sine squared of y. We're cheater foiling because these are conjugates. Now, if we look down here, right here, this guy right here is a Pythagorean identity. That's what I wanted. Since that's a Pythagorean identity, I can replace it with cosine squared of y. So in the numerator, I'm keeping it as it is, 1 cosine of y plus 1 plus the sine of y, over the new replacement of the Pythagorean identity of the cosine squared of y. All right, now I'm going to separate this out. I have the cosine of y. Let's say, hopefully, cosine of y, and then I'll separate this out as the cosine of y times the cosine of y. You see something canceling here in just a moment. Notice you can reduce the numerator and the denominator by a cosine of y. So now we're left with 1 plus the sine of y over the cosine of y. All right, we're going to separate out into two fractions again. Split up into cosine, 1 over cosine of y, and then the sine of y over the cosine of y. So two separate fractions again. And then 1 over the cosine of y is the reciprocal identity to the secant. And then the sine of y over the cosine of y is the quotient identity for the tangent of y. So that's how you can multiply by complex conjugates.